Welcome back. I'm Representative Patricia Morgan, and today we have with us Mike Chippendale, who's the representative from Foster, Gloucester, and Western Coventry. And Mike has been on the two oversight committees who have tried to study 38 studios. You know, we were just talking about the fact that the Securities and Exchange Commission, they were able to look at the financial aspects, the bond aspects of this, and they found culpability. And 2 people have been fined already, 2 other organizations, the banks that were involved, they are still on the hook, I think. We have an Attorney General, though, who just completed his investigation, and he's refusing to even give us any details. So kind of the SEC has given us a snapshot into the financial and said, no, this stinks. Something there is bad, it was wrong, we're finding fault. I would imagine there is fault on the non-financial side.
Absolutely.
That we're not getting names, dates, who got what it was spent on. We're not getting any of that. Where do we go from here?
You know,
I know you banged your head against this for 2 long years.
Sure. You know, in all those emails that I read and that we received, I can state without a hesitation that Kilmartin was nowhere near this. I don't believe he knew anything about it. I believe he was just another duped member of the House who voted for what sounded like a rosy deal.
But his friends are the leadership.
His
they helped
friends,
him become Attorney General.
Exactly. And so in the respect that he doesn't want to release documentation, I don't believe it's because there's still an open criminal investigation. I don't buy that. I believe
not
it's
unless
because
you're waiting for the statute of limitations to run out.
Exactly. And the statute is 6 years, and we're almost there. So I believe he's more inclined to be protecting his friends' reputations. I believe there are political players as well as non-political players who would be harmed reputationally and politically were all of his findings to come out. Because little old me and little old Karen Macbeth found out a lot of stuff. So if I had the power of the Attorney General's office behind me, I think I could have found out more stuff. So I have to believe that he found out more stuff. Well,
they said they interviewed 114 people. I mean, of that...
I think it was 146.
146. You know, and I know that we've had on our show Mike Riley, who's a financial wizard, expert, and he has said that he found that the day before 38 Studios collapsed, that somebody sold a lot of bonds. I think it
was $1.25 million.
So 1.25
was sold the day before they went under.
Right. So I'd like to know who that person is and who told them.
Absolutely.
To sell their bonds.
And going through even the individual I know at 38 Studios, who was very intimate with the whole thing, doesn't know who those private investors are. So I'm not sure how you get that. That's way outside of my
You can find it if you're an Attorney General, I imagine.
I imagine if you were an Attorney General or a state police colonel, you probably
Because if there's any kind of culpable or fraudulent activity, you're allowed to get those names and ascertain that.
And even let's just stipulate, because we're nice, that there was no criminal wrongdoing.
I said if.
Right, if. What about the political wrongdoing? That's what I believe the big cover-up is.
What about the harm to taxpayers? What about the harm to our citizens?
Absolutely. From the beginning, many of us, including you, have called for an immediate default on the quote-unquote moral obligation bond, which is unconstitutional in the state of Rhode Island, Article 6, Section 16, I think it is.
The offering itself said...
Absolutely. And the offering itself said you do not have to pay this back.
That's right.
However, they required us to buy a $75 million insurance policy in the event that we didn't pay it back. We've been calling for that default, and it's been summarily rejected by all those people in leadership for various reasons. How it's going to hurt the state, and there was this little show where a couple of leaders went down to New York to talk to the rating agencies.
They had a nice dinner.
Steak dinner. And we know the rating agencies are going to do what's best for the rating agencies, which is why they're being sued by states as it is. But we did have individuals testify before us that the harm to Rhode Island financially would be so immaterial compared to the benefit of doing it. Of course, the witnesses that the leadership lined up to come before the Oversight Committee to address that specific answer, what would a default do to the state? They all had the doom and gloom projections, John Simmons and all of it.
Always unbelievable.
But even Robert Cusack, who came up, he said, look, I can't tell you.
It'll
This
be
is
negligible, because
unprecedented.
we actually pay all of our other bonds.
And he pointed out
This
that
was
it's
moral
not-
obligation.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not an ability to pay versus a willingness to pay. In the past, the only thing they've ever seen is where states or municipalities were
Were
unable to
unable.
pay. We're unwilling to pay on moral grounds and legal grounds, which
Mm-hmm.
he believed, and many believe, we have a strong standing. So,
Yes.
if we activated that insurance policy, what's the first thing that would happen? The insurance company would get their investigators to go through this thing, and they don't care who knows who. They don't care if you know a guy. They're
That's
gonna
right.
go through everything.
Because now
And
their money is on the line.
absolutely, they're not gonna pay that unless they have to.
Instead of the poor taxpayers.
And whatever they uncover is coming out. Whoever's name it is, whether they're political, non-political, it doesn't matter. They would bring it all out. So I still say, let's stop paying that damn loan. Let's let the
Well,
investigators come
because-
in, because we won't have to pay for this investigation. The insurance company's gonna do it.
For 4 years, the Republicans have asked for an independent
Yep.
investigation, and that's been shot down by the Democrats.
Absolutely.
Every single time. So it seems at this point that the only way to do it is really not to pay.
And we were told repeatedly, as you know, every time we requested a special prosecutor that, look, the Attorney General's dealing with the criminal part, let the legislators legislate, let the prosecutors prosecute, the state police are looking at it. So they were trying to give us hope, you know? Okay, so we don't need that investigation because there's real investigations going on.
But he
And then
didn't.
these two real investigations come out and say there was nothing wrong.
Well,
No one can swallow
not,
that.
listen, it might not be criminal,
Right,
but we have a right
absolutely.
to that information.
We have
We
a
have a
right
right
to
to
know.
all the witnesses' names.
Absolutely.
Everybody who had their fingers in that pot of money, we have a right to know.
Absolutely, and we should. We should know how politics works in the
It's a
background.
moral obligation
That
to
is
the
a
people
moral
of Rhode
obligation.
Island.
That is the only moral obligation in that whole 38 Studios mess, right what you just said.
So, is it possible for us, so we have tried now to get an independent investigation.
Mm-hmm.
We've been told, no, don't worry, the state police are doing
The
it, the
professionals
attorney,
have it.
they
Yeah.
they got it under wraps. We know that they've done it. We don't know how well,
Right.
because they're not really giving us
No.
any of the backup material on it. It seems, unless we get more Republicans elected, we'll not ever get an independent investigation.
Yeah, that would certainly be one way of doing it.
That, I think you changed the
absolutely.
political makeup
Landscape,
up there.
absolutely. You know, we just need people to realize, and it could be a Republican, it could be a Democrat, independent, doesn't matter. They just need to realize how important this is and the gravity of the entire situation, because most of the people in Rhode Island know what they see on the news, which is the proverbial tip of the iceberg. I'm talking just a little pointy part at the top. The rest of it is underwater, and that's kind of what you and I have been talking about, and what I could talk about for days and weeks. But with all that information being put back into the Oversight Committee's hand, with unfettered access to all of that and all the witnesses we wanted, we could get answers.
I know we could get answers.
Absolutely could get answers.
Or we could just default and let the insurance company do the
And
investigation.
that would turn out to be the cheapest alternative
I
altogether.
think it would be.
Absolutely.
I know, I actually looked today on, we had the vote during the budget on having an independent
Yes.
investigation.
That was your amendment.
Every Republican voted yes. They wanted an independent investigation.
Democrats.
And 3 Democrats, right. Costantino, Nunes, and Marcello. Those were the only 3.
Yes.
That's only 15. We need to get.
We need more.
We need more.
We need more.
We need more. If people in Rhode Island are genuinely upset about 38 Studios and genuinely want the answers, it seems like politically, we're stymied
We are.
until we get more people
It's very frustrating, and
who
you're
say
right.
they will do the 38
Absolutely.
Studios, because the governor has said, yes, she wants it, and she defaulted on that, or she's not doing it.
She flip-flopped.
She backed away. Nobody on the other side really wants to get the information.
Absolutely not. And I mean, the people calling for it, the governor and the speaker, are saying publicly they want it, but yet the Attorney General, who by the way is term limited and can't run for office again, is saying no.
And I know you did a really good job. I know you worked hard. I saw how
We
hard
worked
you
as hard
worked
as we could.
for 2 years. So I thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
And I hope we do get the answers.
So do I.
Thank you very much for listening.